No, I don't see anything. Oops. Just exited it out. Okay. All right. Now here is the last one that we got. So it says Steins questioned by the state police. Steins makes one single comment. Kevin done me the same way when I was over the house arrest program. Steins is asked to explain what he meant, and he refuses it. Now, that is there in the hallway. Steins follows fellow officers in the front doors. He surrenders to authorities, and he's placed in handcuffs by Justin Hunsucker. Moments later, Sheriff Finance Officer LaShawna Frazier and victim advocate Christine Bowling enter the foyer and tell Steins to shut his mouth. What do y'all think? Mom, are you paying attention?
I am. Well, I'm glad that Justin's a nice boy. And I'm glad that it all worked out to where they didn't have to shoot him.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
That would have been a hard decision. Why did they tell him to shut his mouth?
Well, from what I was told, so Justin Hunsucker, is one of our local police officers, and I'm sure they're all pretty close to Mickey. I'm assuming this anyway. And so, I've questioned throughout this, why aren't people more like, what the heck have you done? What'd you do this for? My God, Mickey. Even if they are police officers, this doesn't happen every day,
I always wondered about that too, why people weren't saying, something to him.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, whenever Hunsucker got in there and he surrendered to Hunsucker, he started to tell him what this was about. He says, Kevin done me the same way when I was over the house arrest program. Steins is asked to explain what he meant, and he refuses. Now, this comes from a very credible source. Okay. So allegedly he starts to tell Hunsucker what it's about. But think about this. Think about the quote that he says. Kevin done me the same way when I was over the house arrest program. Who's over the house arrest program? Lena Hensley. Lena Hensley was over the house arrest program. I think she still is now. She is the chief deputy at the jail now. She's been there quite some time, I reckon, several years.
Who was over the house? I thought that guy that was trading.
Yeah, he was, but after he pled guilty and stuff, somebody else had to
That might have been who he was meaning, though.
No. So No, I don't think so. So we were told, or well, we weren't told. We saw it in the interview. Whenever they interviewed the people that were in the judge's chambers that day, that girl told one of those girls told that when Mickey came in that morning, he was upset. He was upset over a domestic violence case. It was an EPO, I think, is what he said, or what she said, and they were getting ready to, I guess he was trying to talk to Judge Mullins about it. Um, we never really got any real great detail about that when we heard it in the interview, but from what I was told, he starts to tell it to Hunsucker, and Lashana and Christine Boland come running up where he's at and tell him to shut up. And they both tell him to shut up. Now, Christine Boland is also the one who voluntarily gave her phone to the KSP. There was something else important about this that I was going to tell. It was something new that we didn't know before. Let me think on it. I'll think of it here in a second. Let's see what y'all are saying about all this. Jenny B says Mama does not look happy to be here. Hope all is well.
I'm happy.
She just can't see very good.
Yeah, that's why I squint. Here, if I put my glasses on, maybe I'll look happier.
State police treating him great for someone who just violently red rummed someone. Well, and all of this is making sense too. Like the cop that was laughing, the state police officer, where we see the dash cam and he's calling and talking to somebody, and he says, "Somebody just shot Judge Mullins." "You're kidding," he says. And he said, "No, sir." So it's kind of like, they expected it almost, it's just kind of how I took that. And let me say this too. So if Mickey is telling Hunsucker, Kevin done me the same way when I was over the house arrest program. That is not the same thing as they're trying to kidnap my wife and daughter. That's not the same comment. So I don't know. Maybe he did say it. I've still not found anybody saying that he has yet. Was somebody trying to throw that in the narrative in this, as like a trying to distract? So that's one of the things that I have found with some people. Since I've started my show, some people want to set you up. Some people want to give you bad information or send you down a rabbit hole that doesn't have anything to do, Well, why do they do that? Why do you think people do that? They do that as a distraction. You're over here and you're getting ready to find out my secret that's right here. You're getting a little too close. So I'm going to send you out that way. What it reminds me of is that rug reeler that I knew back years ago whenever we pulled up next to that state cop and he threw the money through the window. He said, "That's how I get my shipments in." He gives the state cop $5,000 every time he had a shipment come in. And what they would do, plan ahead, is that cop would go on the other side of the county when at the day and time that shipment was going to be coming across the mountain. And they would go on the other side of the county and they would create some kind of a call, assistance call, that they need assistance. And so all of the other cops would come to them, where they are on the other end of the county. And so that would leave a clear path for the rug reeler to get his shipment in without risking getting pulled over and getting caught. And that's kind of how I see these people that try and, distract you. You're getting too close to their secrets. And a lot of them don't realize you already know. But they're going to try and throw a monkey wrench, try and throw you off the scent. So, that just makes me wonder, did somebody try and do that with this? I mean, who knows? Who knows? All right. Yeah, it's a little bit late. We're a little bit late tonight too, y'all. My mom's not usually up this late. Kentucky Granny says, if they were my best friend, closest friends, I wouldn't have left, and I would have hollered for help or made a scene if I thought I could save my best closest friend from red rum or the consequences. Man, that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. And yes, it's been almost a year. A wolf in sheep's clothing. They are all wolves in sheep's clothing. I'll tell you. I have a question about the camera in the so-called judge's chambers. If it was there for court proceedings and use, wouldn't it have audio? It was not there for that use. So this camera was only installed in the judge's chambers after Ben Fields pled guilty to sexually abusing the women on house arrest in the judge's chambers. He admitted in the plea bargain that, let me pull that down. He admitted in the plea bargain that he had sex with Sabrina. Now, the criminal case was only against Sabrina. Now, it originally was against her, or against him for her and Jennifer Hill. Jennifer Hill died, and she died in a very, very suspicious overdose death.